Happy Valentine's Day and welcome to the Lion's Lounge. I'm Mike and I'll be your bartender for this evening. Tonight, might I recommend a classic among dating sims, Doki Doki Literature Club. You may ask, what exactly is Doki Doki Literature Club? Well, my friends, this is the most lighthearted and wholesome game you can possibly play. Take it from me, I wouldn't steer you wrong. The game is free to play on PC, developed by Team Salvato and released in 2017. Like many dating sim visual novels, you play as a faceless protagonist that can choose between a handful of choice waifus to date and have a loving and lasting relationship with. In this case, you're a high school student who's dragged to the school's literature club by your childhood friend, the cute and bubbly Sayori, who also serves as the club's vice president. There you meet the three remaining members: the shy and resident book lover Yuri, the classic tsundere Natsuki, and the president of the club and goddess of the school, Monika, who sadly enough you can't date out of the three. And each of these girls offers so much for every otaku's dreams. Spend some more time with the lovable and dependable Sayori, and she'll share more with you than you've ever hoped for. Hang out with Yuri and you'll learn about horror and psychological books, as well as explore her unique knife collection. Or you can bake with Natsuki and find that beneath her tough exterior is just a cute girl that comes from a beautiful family. There's really no way you can miss here with any of them. Every visual novel like this has some kind of gimmick in how you pick your waifu. And Doki Doki Literature Club is no different, as it revolves around poems. Every night you pick 20 words, each that correspond to one of the three girls. And if you pick a majority of the words in their favor, you'll be able to grow closer to them and learn more about their personalities from the poems they write themselves. And your wholesome quest is aided by Monika, who just wants you to enjoy your first love and all that comes from it. God, this game is beautiful. So now here comes the time where we make our cocktails, and of course I have to make one for each girl, starting with Sayori. For her, I wanted to highlight her sweet and bubbly personality, so I knew I wanted to incorporate Kinky, which is a fruity mango and passion fruit liqueur. So you're gonna start with 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of Kinky Pink. Next, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of vodka. Then 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of fresh lime juice. And lastly, 3 ounces or 90 milliliters of cranberry juice. Add some ice to your tin and shake for about 12 seconds. Then just strain into a coupe. And there you have the Sayori. Cheers. Ooh, the mango and the passion fruit is the first thing you taste, and then comes the cranberry juice. The lime juice just adds a little extra tartness, and the vodka some more oomph. But you can't really taste the vodka, so this is a very sweet cocktail. Next up we have Yuri, and for her I wanted it to be a dark and powerful cocktail that's nonetheless pleasant when you give it a chance. So for this one you're gonna start with 1.5 ounces or 45 milliliters of a Citron Vodka. Next, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of Blue Curacao. This is just an orange liqueur with blue food dye. Next, 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of Chambord. This is a black raspberry liqueur. Add some ice and shake for 12 seconds. Then strain into a Nick and Nora glass. Leave some room at the top. And lastly, you're gonna top this up with some lemon lime soda. And then you're just gonna garnish it with a blackberry. And there you have the Yuri. Cheers. So from its appearance, you're expecting it to be a lot stronger than it actually is, when in reality you mostly taste the black raspberry and the lemon lime soda with just a hint of the orange liqueur. This is a surprisingly delicious cocktail. Lastly, we have Natsuki, and like her personality, I wanted it to be spicy but also sweet. And because she loves baking, I wanted it to include some chocolate liqueur. So first up, you're gonna start with 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of whatever chocolate liqueur you love. Then 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of chili pepper vodka. And then lastly, 1.5 ounces or 45 milliliters of half and half. Add some ice and shake for 12 seconds. Then strain into a martini glass. And for garnish, I'm gonna grate some chocolate. And there you have the Natsuki. Cheers. Whew, I've never had a cocktail quite like this. What's interesting is that you initially get the creaminess, followed up by that bite from the pepper vodka, and then the chocolate liqueur comes in at the end and kind of smooths it all over. So this is kind of like a roller coaster of flavors, but it's really good. Now, if you've ever played a dating sim visual novel, you know there comes a time where you have to pick your waifu. And in this case, I think I'm going to pick Sayori. Then I guess, Natsuki? Yuri? So I may have been just a tiny bit dishonest on the plot of Doki Doki Literature Club. See, it does start off like a typical dating sim, where you attempt to court one of the three girls. However, as you continue to play, you notice some rather peculiar behavior from each of them. The first clue being the words you can pick. For Sayori, there's what you'd expect. Words like joy and play. But there's also empty and, death, which is, yeah. And as this continues, you find she withdraws more and more into herself, her poems reflecting her mounting depression. And even after confessing to you, which you can accept or deny, you find one day that she skipped school, and you rush to her home to find... This is where Doki Doki Literature Club really begins. The game glitches and you start the story over, only Sayori is gone from the game, almost like she never existed, and strange blockiness and distortions start happening to the characters and text. Not only that, things previously hidden about Natsuki and Yuri come to light, like how Natsuki is malnourished due to the abusive relationship from her father, or how Yuri is slowly losing her grip on reality, and has resorted to self-harm with her own knives. Natsuki herself fears for Yuri's well-being, and warns you of this, culminating in Yuri confessing to you in a deranged love letter that, regardless if you accept or not, she decides to stab herself to death with her own knife. And you, the protagonist, are forced to stay with her rotting corpse throughout the weekend, until you're discovered by Natsuki, who immediately vomits and runs away. And then, Monika arrives. As if she knew this would all happen. You're forced to restart the game once more, but this time, it's just Monika. Just her and you in the empty classroom together. And it's here you learn the terrible truth. Monika has been manipulating the events of the game from the very beginning, torturing you, the player, making you see all these horrific scenes, and removing her opposition so that all that remains is the two of you. Monika does not love the protagonist. Monika loves you. And she will keep you in that room for all of eternity. Until you discover that the only way to defeat her is to go into the game folder and delete her character file, causing her to lament at you abandoning her before finally deciding to restore the game to its proper state, herself excluded. This game really hit me the first time I played it. I went into it basically cold and marathoned it in one sitting. So if you watch this and haven't played it, I'm kinda sorry I've robbed you of this revelation, but I still think it's worth experiencing. And of course I have to finish this video by making a cocktail for Monika, the true waifu and antagonist of Doki Doki Literature Club. This one is based on the Midori illusion, which I thought was appropriate given the name, as well as the color, which is a deep green, the same color as Monika's eyes, which seem to stare into your very soul. So for this one, you're gonna start with 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of Midori, which is a Japanese melon liqueur. Next, 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of pineapple juice. Then 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of lemon juice. Next, 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of vodka. And lastly, 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of Grand Marnier. You can also use triple sec. Add some ice and shake for 12 seconds. Add some ice to a highball glass and strain into the glass. And for garnish, I'm going to use a maraschino cherry and this skull pick for obvious reasons. And there you have the Monika. Cheers. The Midori and the pineapple juice is front and center. On the tail end, you get the orange notes from the Grand Marnier, which I kinda would recommend over just a regular triple sec, just because it will be a lot more present. And then the vodka is all but hidden, it just makes the drink a little more boozy. And because of that, you can drink a lot of these and not realize you're getting drunk. So today, my dear friends, I served you some Doki Doki Literature Club. All 4 of these waifus are just mwah. But in the end, regardless of which one you choose, know that there's always just Monika. If you like this video and want to see more, please consider liking and subscribing. If you have any other cocktails from your favorite games or series you'd like me to make, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see what I make outside this channel, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Spacelion or Instagram at Mr.Spacelion. But thank you so much for stopping by the Lions Lounge this evening. I'm Mike, and I hope to see you next time.